20 years in thinking. I was living in family, in family house. Um, Always adapting, always changing, having to put up with things. Grateful, yeah, I'm one of the 1%, you could say. Yeah, grateful for this space, but it was never really afforded me a kind of position where I could let things roll. So, with one thing and another, family and land and sales and things, I sold some land and decided at this ripe age that it was time to get on with my own house, my own studio that was purpose built, my own space accordingly, and so that's the reason for the house. I've done many abbreviations, alterations, add-ons, change roof, look down wall, this, that, the other. I mean, this is an evolution of ideas over the years, you know what I mean? And like I say, I was trying to stay away from the box because, well, you get a chance to do something like this, and it's not every day you get a chance, even if you do have some money. It's not every day. And I know people building houses, and they're all going about it according to their taste. And this is like something I've always liked. I kind of like an alternative dwelling. I've always liked it, because a house on a hill, a bungalow, but a big bungalow. You know what I mean? Something that kind of like stretches the imagination, gives you a little bit of visual play, without being ostentatious or, pretentious. I often wondered that a lot of houses don't really make use of roofs, and so I thought I'd put a big roof on the ground, big church roof. It's a bit like starting a big piece of sculpture. Things are gonna go wrong. A big piece is a big piece of sculpture. Things are gonna go wrong. It's gonna run over time. People are not reliable. So you have to factor all of that into your own position to do with, designing, overseeing, building. And that's not different, that's not actually different to making an exhibition. It's a big thing. It's sincere. You don't want it to fall down. You don't want, some left field fuck up to come all of a sudden, which could be anything outside of that sphere, So you factor in all those things, and the more you factor it in, is the more you become confident about what you can and can't do. But if you don't factor it in, don't try to, you're going to get caught. You see, my work was never really just about painting. It was about this stuff as well, because I grew up in this. I grew up with a family who built things. So there was always a very practical side to how an idea became something. I remember they weren't architects, they were fixers. But I remember going into their offices and, the builder would come along and say, well, this wall is kind of this and this. And I remember the discussions about how this was going to be done. And it's not unlike a discussion in an art room about an object, some space, time, material, effort, intention. So the two kind of translate because they're both spatial. So over the years with me and my work, I've been always looking to kind of like fuck myself up. There are certain constants. You go in a studio and you got some paint, I'm really not into doing all the video and stuff because I'm not into it. I like it, but I'm not into it. There's still a whole lifetime of variation in paint that I haven't kind of looked at. But that is not about theory. That's about going in there and kind of undoing yourself. Once it starts to look like, oh, this is looking nice, that it becomes. And that feeling normally comes when you haven't actually finished the painting. It just looks nice. parts of it look nice. That's very dangerous, because that's like, some kind of self-satisfaction coming in, and you ain't done yet. The two are exactly the same, except that one might involve some color and one doesn't. They're exactly the same thing. It's just some days the paint is, the scale of the painting. I don't sit down and paint. I stand up and paint. I move around in a room and paint. I paint on 4 or 5 paintings at the same time. For me, it's a very physical thing. When I come to draw, though, if I'm drawing a figure or going a drawing session, I just kind of sit down and keep it as quiet thing. When I go in my drawing room, it's a sit down, turn on the air conditioning, close the door, some kind of mild stimulation with some music or something. And that's very different. That's like whole body had to be still. But for me, I go in the painting studio. I'm not sitting down at the easel. That bores the shit out of me. I like to walk around and spin the canvases and move them around and create that. The whole thing is a very slow dance between me and that cube with various. I look at the paintings as portals. They're like mental portals. I'm writing. For me, the painting is not about painting. It's actually, I'm kind of writing with the drawing. The drawing come like writing. Like you're writing a story and the whole sentence doesn't make sense. Your paintings, whole thing doesn't make sense. Fuck that. Or a bit of it makes sense. And I'm always trying to think of it that way, so I don't get stuck in one groove thinking of it one way. And after 20 years, that kind of risky thinking, when you're a younger artist, somebody would say something like that to an artist, oh, that's too risky. But now, it's like second nature. What I would agonize over for a week now is like split second. I just know that's not good and that's not working. Off with its head, just. I think in the drawing, especially those drawings that I do, there is what happened all those years ago was I realized that I didn't really want to think about it anymore. I've been doing it since I was such a small kid, and thinking and reading and da. I just thought, what would happen if I just treated this like a meditation instead of work? What would happen if I just went in here and just allowed the pencil just to move without the reason for it moving? What would happen if I just allowed that to go on and on and on? Because do I need a reason for it not to? That's what that series is about. It's, do I really need a reason not? Do I need a reason for it to be? Or do I just need to set it up so I go and sit my ass down and move the pencil and then see where after it's time based. You gotta set yourself, and it's more deliberate in the painting. The painting is more like going swimming, but the drawing is something that's a lot more like going to you could say to a martial arts class where you're doing the same thing over and over and over. In the painting, I'm kind of like feeling that I'm a lot more freer. It's, the paint doesn't behave, it sits on that big brush and it's gooey and it's kind of lice and everything, and it goes on and it's wet, and then 5 minutes later the acrylic is dry on you and you think, oh, okay, and you got 40 square feet to go, you gotta go. But when you're sitting down quietly and you're there like this, it's quite a different. I'm aware that all the thought is passing through a point, and that point has to be under some kind of control. It's like when I go to paint, it's like I abandon that, but I'm still doing the same thing. I'm still drawing it. I'm moving things around and adding, but I know it's really difficult.